What would you see when you look at a rigid tissue like bone? It seems smooth and static, but it is completely dynamic at the cellular level and has a variety of functions. For example, bones protect other organs, they help us to move, produce red and white blood cells, store minerals, and provide the structure and support for the body. But first, let's talk about the hierarchical structure of the bone to understand them. Then we can talk about the engineering part. You can find 5 types of bone in the body, but let's pick long bones as an example. If you zoom in on this area, we can find 2 different types of bone tissues, the cortical and cancellous bone. The cortical bones are dense and have a high mechanical strength, which has a stabilizing and supporting effect. Therefore, it forms the hard exterior parts of bones and gives them a smooth, white, and solid appearance. It is composed of smaller units called osteons, which are arranged along the long axis in the concentric circle. Each column is multiple layers of cells around the central canal called the hierarchical canal. Blood vessels pass through this canal, which makes the column metabolically active. Osteons connect with Volkmann's canal to make a fantastic systematic structure. The whole cortical bone is covered with a double-layer membrane called preosteum, which plays an important role in bone repair. This membrane is connected to the cortical bone by strong collagen type 1 fibers called Sharpey's fiber. The internal part of the bone is different from the outer layer and has low mechanical strength and a porous structure, which makes it weaker and more flexible. The greater surface area also makes it suitable for metabolic activities such as the exchange of calcium ions. It is highly vascularized and mostly contains bone marrow where the blood cells are produced. The functional unit, which is called trabecula, has a spongy or honeycomb-like network, and you can see the difference between these structures and osteons. The cortical and spongy bones are separated by a thin vascular membrane which helps the growth and repair of the bone. These spaces in the spongy bone are filled by blood vessels and bone marrow, where we can find 2 important stem cells, hematopoietic stem cells and mesenchymal stem cells. Mesenchymal stem cells are multipotent and they can differentiate into different specialized cells. Osteoblasts make the bone matrix. They synthesize dense, cross-linked collagen and specialized proteins. They also produce hydroxyapatite, which is a crystalline form of calcium ions. Hydroxyapatite can increase the collagen matrix tensile modulus by 4 times and induce fracture-resistant properties in bone tissue. As the tissue becomes mineralized, the osteoblasts trap inside the bone matrix and differentiated into osteocytes. These cells are the most abundant in the bone and they reside in these channels called lacunae. Osteocytes are relatively inert cells. They are capable of transmission of signals over long distances because of specific channels called gap junctions. The other stem cell is hematopoietic stem cells, which are the source of blood cells and immune cells. So basically, they make red and white blood cells. Among white blood cells, lymphocytes differentiate into macrophages when they travel from blood vessels to the tissue. Now in bone, these macrophages fuse together and make a giant cell called osteoclast, which has the ability to produce acid and collagenase to break down the bone tissue. They have a specific pump on the membrane that uses energy to pump the hydrogen ions outside of the cells. In a simple way, they produce acid, which helps the dissolution of the mineralized bone matrix into calcium ions. This is only the start of getting into more complex topics in bone tissue engineering, so make sure you subscribe for future videos. Thank you for watching.